Capture lessons. Capture, thank you for that. Capture lessons learned. So you can see what you need to do is capture previous lessons learned. At the start of a project, what we are capturing is previous lessons learned. What are the lessons learned in the past that we need to document on our project so that we can start looking at what is going on. And also, I need to quickly address this. I noticed that 2 people, 3 people picked up daily log as lessons learned log from the template I sent out. There are 2 different things. Lessons learned log is different from daily log. Okay. Daily log can also be called action log. Okay. That just talks about the actions you're doing every day and you're logging those actions from various meetings, from various encounter and all of that. You're logging actions and you're putting action owners in front. So for people that picked daily log as lessons learned log, please make sure you correct that. Okay. So you can see that is this readable? Is my screen readable? Looks tiny. Is it better now?
Yes, this is better.
Okay. So it's just me telling you the flow of documentation, the flow of things you need to do as a project manager, how you manage the principles, the process, and the forgotten my last P now. All right. Okay. So we've got appoint the executives and the project manager. We've got capture previous lessons learned, design and appoint the project team, management team members, prepare the outline business case, and select the project approach and assemble the project brief, then plan that. So you can see that, what we're doing at first is to get all of that sorted. And after getting all of that sorted, okay, we've identified and appointed the executive who will sponsor the project. Don't forget, we did that last week. We said the sponsor of that project is the G Manual. We've appointed Jane Doe or whoever you want to appoint. I've appointed Jane Doe as the project manager for this particular project, not myself this time around. And what do I expect us to do next? I expect us to now prepare the outline business case. Okay. Now, let me quickly show us how to get templates online. Okay. You can always get templates online by saying business case, template, doc. Okay. So by me putting document in front of that, if you look at my Google search, this is a template I can pick up. Okay, I can pick up that template from UK government. So you can see that's a template you can use for a business case. That's how to get a template online. So you can see it's telling you what you need to put into each of that. Okay. Another way, yes, so that's the major way to do that really. That's a free template. That's another free template from Smartsheet. That's another free template you can download. That's another free template from Western Sydney University you can download as well. That's another template you can download from stakeholdersmap.com. That's another template you can download from Health Innovation East Midlands. That is, so that is how to get a template. Okay. If it's a business case, let's see. Yes, I've seen a business case on this before. Okay, so you can see that's a business case in Excel spreadsheet. Interesting. Let's see what that looks like. It's a proper financial analysis template for business case. No, you don't need it. You don't need anything like this. So you can see it's saying the cost analysis, the quantitative benefit analysis, the goals and objective as recommended, the cost mapping. No, this is not what we're looking for. This is a proper financial statement. Okay, so that is how to get a template for someone that asked about RACI template, RACI template XLS. Okay, that's a template from Stanford University that you can use. That's a template from Smartsheet that you can use. Let's download the one from Stanford University. Yeah, it's telling me I've downloaded it before. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, you can see that. So you can see that's a template that you can always pick up and use if you're not okay with the one I sent to you. Okay, is that clear on how to get templates, everyone online?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, excellent. So we have prepared the outline business case. That's when you define the business need for implementing MS Dynamics, a convincing statement. That's you have to make a convincing statement on how to do that. Then you outline the benefits. This is all at the start of a project. And don't forget that your project brief already has that. You've appointed I saw some people appointing few people who will be the project manager, who will be the cost engineer and all that in their brief, which is fantastic. What you're doing is you're appointing the project management team. The next to that is a combination of your brief, which is a combination of everything we have up there, and you now have develop a detailed plan for what is the next key activities that you need to do. And I could see that some people said month one, this is what we need to do because we had that in our project mandate. Month one, this is what we need to do. Month two, this is what we need to do, and all of that. And after that, the next thing I expect us to now do is to go into the detailed business case. Okay, go into detailed business case and define project organization structure. We define the project, that's what I call the governance framework, which include roles and responsibilities and the reporting structures for people. Okay, then we now create a project plan. So that is what I expect us to do when we get into the initiate the project. At this point, the work implementation is yet to start. What we are still doing here, we are still trying to plan how things will work. We're trying to plan what exactly is the approach we want to use, what exactly is the detailed project plan. How do we want to do these? Let's brainstorm what activities start, what activities do we need to do, what are the key activities we need to do in order to achieve this particular project and all that, and also what exactly on this particular project. And I'm sure on your SharePoint project, on you have your weekly project meeting. You have the maybe a particular project sponsor meeting or project board meeting that you report to Deji directly on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis, and all that. This is all dependent on what the structure is in-house when you're running your project. Okay, so when you get into an organization, you need to understand, okay, what exactly is the structure within this organization? How do we do things? And all of that. We will talk about governance a lot next week. We'll talk about, I'll show you one of the things I've prepared in the past for different levels of governances within an organization. What exactly are the terms of reference? Who do we need to invite into this particular project? Who needs, what are the inputs to this? What are the outputs to this particular meeting? I will show us that next week when we go into that in detail. Okay, so after that, and this is going back to my slide. So you can see after you do that, we're now going to our initiate project. On that initiate project, what we are trying to do here is we're trying to create strategies. Okay, we're trying to create our strategies, or what we call plans. In the US, they will call it plans. In the UK, they call it strategies. Okay. I'm sure you all can remember when I did the introduction to us, I told us about cardiac. Okay. When I spoke about cardiac, you can remember what I said about cardiac. Who can remember?
Um, so when you spoke about cardiac, I think we're talking about like uh so sorry, I think we're talking something around like change control.
Okay, yes, that's the C. That's the first C. Okay, what else?
Uh, mm, I don't know.
Okay, who else? Who else want to go for it? Don't worry, if you Google it, you won't see it. Talk to me. I've been talking about cardiac a lot. Okay, how many of you have heard of rate before?
Radius.
What is
Yeah.
what is rate?
Risk
Okay,
assumptions,
okay.
Issues and dependencies.
issues and
Issues and
dependence.
okay, excellent. So I said I invented the cardiac. Basically, the cardiac is change control, okay, assumption, dependency, and assumption, risk, dependency, decision, issues, actions, and constraints. Because as a project manager, these are the things you need to manage on the project. These are your babies that you need to manage on the project. Okay. And another thing to that, the last one to that, or two to that, is plans and stakeholders. Okay. You need to make sure you manage those two very well as the other ones we've spoken about. Those are your baby. And that's exactly what you're doing here. So while you're preparing the brief, while you're doing all of that, it's fantastic. Those are all paperwork and all that. While others are paperwork, and there are also things you need to do. Yes, C is change control. A is action. R is risk. D is dependency. Another D is decision. I is issue. A is assumption. And the last C is constraint. Okay. So when we start initiating a project, which we are at the moment, because the first thing we did is to start up a project by developing all of the documents. So when I review the document and I certify that, you know what, yes, this is good. Let's go ahead. These are approved. Let's go ahead and start up the project. I mean, and initiate the project. So when we do that, I now expect us to do after today is to now start creating different strategies on how to manage the project. So you see all of the cardiac I said, the stakeholder I spoke about, as well as the planning that I spoke about, you need to prepare a strategy on how to manage things. Okay. So starting from today, we will definitely talk about risk today and see how exactly we'll talk about stakeholders today and see how exactly we need to talk about stakeholders, and also we need to manage, or we need to develop a strategy on how we think we can manage our stakeholders very, very well. Okay, that is the first one I will be speaking about, because that stakeholders will now lead us to governance next week. Since we've developed our RACI, okay, the people on the RACI, how do we now manage them? Then when we manage them, what exactly are the meetings? What exactly is the comms procedure in order for us to manage them? All right, give me 10 seconds. Someone is asking me to write them down. Change control. Or yeah, that's Rachel. Thank you. Yeah, Rachel has written them down for you, so I can continue. All right, good stuff. So you can see, so we're now at the initiating the project part, where we need to talk about risk, we need to talk about configuration, we need to talk about the quality of work, we need to talk about comms, We're going to talk about refine our business case to see where we are, and putting all of that together will now give us what we call the project initiation document, which is called the PID. Okay, will give us a project initiation document, which is called the PID, and that now becomes the Bible in which will guide us through the project. Okay, if we're using the PMI PMBOK methodology now, they call it the project management plan. Okay, they call it project management plan. In there, so for us, we will be sticking to PID. And when you look at each of those output of each of the other stages, because the PID is a living document, because inside the PID is the project plan. Inside the PID is a business case. So you can see after one of the output of managing state boundary is updated PID. Okay, one of the output of closing a project is updated PID as well. So as a project progresses, you have to keep on updating your PID as you go. Okay, so that is very, very critical. And one of the things I told us to prepare is your lessons learned log. So next week, we will definitely be preparing what we call the stakeholders log. All right. So before we get there, give me 20 seconds to pull up my desktop. Demo training. Blue sky. (2024). Okay. Are we recording? Can we pause the recording for a few minutes? All right. So we're talking about, stakeholders management, but the question now is, why do we need to develop a plan? Why do we need to develop a plan? Developing a plan is the process of developing a proper management strategy or engagement strategy to effectively engage stakeholders throughout the life cycle. That's what I've been talking about. We just need to make sure we document it. And in documentation, and I will see that very, very soon, and how to go about that, to say, okay, on this particular project, we have Onome, we have Rachel, we have Todimo, we have Damilare, we have Matthew, we have each and every one of you on the project. But you will agree with me that when we get into the project proper, but because everybody is a trainee on this particular course, you need the same level of information. You need the same information at the same time. And that's why Damlar is saying, you know what, yeah, I was not in class last week and all that. That's why my own project seems quite different and all that. But because you're on this, we've identified every one of you on this particular platform to be in the same box. And you will see that box very, very soon. So that meaning the information I'm passing to you all must be the same. The time I'm passing to you might be different because of time location, but at the same time, we can say it should be the same. But don't forget that the kind of information I'll be passing to Deji or Olaomi will be definitely different from the kind of information I'm giving to you. Okay, I'm giving you detailed information and all of that, but when I get to Olaomi and Deji, all I just want to tell them is, yes, we've completed week 4 of the training. Okay, yes, I gave the class homework to do. I expect it to be submitted. So you can see that we seem to be on the same project, but I'm giving you different kind of information. For you guys now, the information I'm giving to you is via Zoom and all of that. If I want to give Olawumi and Deji that particular their own information, I just send it to them on WhatsApp. Okay, I just send it to them on WhatsApp, or I just give them a call to call them to give them that information. That is what we're talking about when we're talking about the stakeholders engagement strategy or engagement plan. Okay, all right. So what do we need to do at first? We need to identify who are the stakeholders we have on this particular project or program. Let's list all the stakeholders. Like I said, don't forget this part of your stakeholders engagement. Stakeholders engagement, it's not just the people that are working on your project, but everyone that can be affected both negatively or positively by the work of the project. Okay, so we need to first of all identify all the stakeholders, and we'll do that exercise very, very soon. Identify every kind of stakeholders we can think of on the project. Like I tell people, don't shun anybody down whenever you get into a room. Maybe you want to do a brainstorming session and everybody is beginning to scream, oh, the Asda store down the road. Oh, the corner shop down the road. Oh, that. Oh, this, and all of that. Like a typical example is our MS Dynamics that we want to deploy. Who do we want to deploy the MS Dynamics for? I've forgotten. Can anybody remind me? Who are we deploying it for?
Project Legacy.
Project Legacy. And what is Project Legacy into? Did I say anything?
Finance.
Finance?
Wasn't it
No?
finance?
Okay, let's assume Project Legacy is an FMCG. An FMCG that sells vegetable oil. Okay, fast-moving consumer goods, vegetable oil. That's what they sell. Okay, so that is what they're selling, and that's the people we want to deploy the tool for. Okay, an FMCG, that's Project Legacy Corporation. They're into vegetable oil or not cooking oil. So let's say cooking oil, vegetable oil, sunflower, rapeseed oil, olive oil, and all of that. Let's just say cooking oil. Okay, so we've got that. We need to identify everybody, the supplier of that particular oil, the truck drivers of that particular oil. We need to think about all of these. We need to think about all of these guys, because don't forget, our Dynamics 365 talks about from end to end, from the customer relation, from where we are buying the oil from the people that is coming into our organization, coming into our factory, into the processing, up until it comes out for us to sell to the customer, till it gets to the customer. That is what the MS Dynamics is helping us to sort out. Is an ERP solution or CRM solution, and that is exactly what it is helping us to sort out. Okay, so one thing we need to do is in order to manage a stakeholder relationship, it is imperative for us to first of all identify the stakeholders. Then the next thing we want to do is to analyze the attitude of the stakeholders. When we're talking about the attitude of the stakeholders, we want to talk about, okay, what exactly is the power and the influence of these, or interest of this particular stakeholder on this particular project. Okay. Typical example is if I put Ayo, I'm putting Todimu, I'm putting Deji. Okay. And I'm putting, who else can I put here? And I'm putting Olawumi. Oh, let's say the four of us. Okay. Now, let's talk about the influence, the power of each of these people. Okay. Todimu is one of the trainees, for your information. Deji is a provost of the of Blue Sky Citadel. Olawumi is a senior admin for Blue Sky Citadel, and Ayo is a trainer. Okay, so what exactly do you think the power of Ayo is on this particular PM training project? Be careful before you talk.
I think training and development.
Oh, Rachel said she's interested in my answer. Sorry, I'm just reading that out. I'll talk about that later. Okay. So what is it? What's the power of Ayo on this from 1 to 5? Do you think Ayo has got a lot of power on this particular training project?
Yeah, it's got 3.
Ayo has got 3. Okay. So you're saying that Ayo has got medium level
Yeah.
power. Okay. What exactly is the interest of Ayo on this particular project? Is his interest high or low?
Very high.
Very high. So you're saying my interest is 5.
It's not very high. It's just high. It's medium.
Just medium. Oh, he's talking with me. Okay. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you. All right, Todimu. And okay, for Todimu now, we said Todimu is a trainer. I mean, he's a trainee. What do we think the power of Todimu is?
1.
Number 1.
1. Excellent. What do you think his interest is?
That'll be very high.
His interest is high. I love that. I love that. Okay. For Deji, who is a sponsor or who is a provost of the school, what do you think his power is?
5.
5.
5.
Or
His interest?
5 as well. 5.
5 as well. Okay. Olawumi, who is the admin, what do you think his power is?
4.
Like
3.
4,
4.
3, 4.
3. Okay. What do you think our interest will be?
Yeah, high as well.
High as well.
Okay. So let's go back to our analysis. Okay. You're saying that Ayo's power is 3, is medium. Do we all agree to that? Or if I don't show up, if I don't show up today, do you think the training will go ahead?
No,
No,
No.
So
no,
that means my power is what?
higher.
it should be high.
Higher.
Very high. Okay. What would you think my interest is? My interest is that's why I'm here, because I want everybody to succeed.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why I'm pouring everything out, because I want everybody to succeed. So meaning the interest is
It's
higher.
high.
Yeah, high.
Yeah.
For my influence, I can influence things as well. For Todimu, very, very true. I love your analysis about Todimu is 1 and 5. For Deji, 5/5. Yes, Deji can say today, we're shutting down the whole blue sky citadel. We're not doing it anymore. Okay. So his power and his interest is high as well, because he wants to see everybody succeed. Can you see how we're doing the analysis now? So when you get on your project, these are the kind of analysis you want to do for your stakeholders within your project. And I always put this caveat. There for when I speak about stakeholders register. Please, stakeholders register is not meant for everybody to see. And the reason why I'm saying that is you don't want Todimu, who you said his power is 1, to see such document. And Todimu might not appreciate it, to the fact that you're saying that his power is low. And that was why I told Wumi that I will get back at you, because she was trying to put my pounded yam small.
There are 2 Wumizo.
Why are you 5? I mean, if you're not 3, then you're 4.
Okay, yeah, you're still trying to put my pounded yam small though. Yeah. So that, because when you make the register opened, and there are some people that what they might say, oh really? He thinks I don't have power. I will show them I've got power on this particular and they will want to frustrate your project. Do you get? That is why that particular stakeholders register is not meant for everybody to see. The senior stakeholders are always the ones that should see these, or whoever, as a PMO, yes, as a PMO is open to you, because you are the one that will know where you need to send information to, or who you need to send comms to on different levels. Okay? So one of the points I have there is, establishing the stakeholders strategy to increase the support and minimize negative impact of stakeholders, to identify potential approaches to engage, manage relationships, and communicate very well to people. Okay, so these are reasons why we do the strategy. Okay. So, what is the first thing you need to do? Identify your stakeholders. That's the first process. I mean, the first thing you need to do, like we said, is develop a strategy, your stakeholders engagement or management strategy. After you've done that, try and identify your stakeholders. After you've identified the stakeholders, you now need to analyze the stakeholders. After analyzing the stakeholders, you now need to put a response plan in place, which is a communications plan on how you intend to manage them and all that. So areas to consider when identifying your stakeholders is, will the person be directly or indirectly affected by the proposed project or initiative or change? Does this person hold a position from which they can influence the project, initiative, or change? Does the person have an impact on the initiative resources, budget, or schedule? You can see those three key things: the resources, the budget, the schedule, or even the scope of work. Does the person potentially benefit from the initiative, or they are in a position to resist the change? Okay, so someone you said is power, or power is small, and this person can resist this particular change from happening. So you can see that the moment the person sees that, that person wants to start screaming underneath and frustrating your project. So which are the other ways you can identify your project? You can look at the budget, to look at who handles the budget, who approves the budget, who does all of that, who are your internal suppliers that can actually mar your project. What are the risks around? What are the resources? What exactly is the organization? Who is affecting the schedule? So these are key things you need to look out for whenever you're doing your stakeholders identification. Next after identification is analysis. We're not trying to do analysis like we did on Ayo, Todimu, Deji, on Olaumi. So that is a kind of analysis you need to do, okay? And when you do the analysis, we're looking at the power and the interest of people within this particular space. We'll do the exercise very, very soon. So you want to talk about how important they are to the project. What is their level of power? What is their level of interest or influence on the project? And by the time we do all of these, we need to categorize them into four boxes. This is a 2x2 grid. Into four boxes. We want to talk about who do we need to keep satisfied? Who do we need to manage closely? Who do we need to monitor? Or who do we need to keep informed? Okay. After you've done all of that and you've put everything in the grid, the people you must be concerned with are those three people up there. People with little power. I mean, very little little interest, but very high power. Okay. People with little power and also high interest. You want to make sure that they are informed on what is happening. They are interested in what is happening. Okay. They want to know what is happening. Not that they will use their power for anything, but they are interested in the project. Interested in the project could be, because of their interest in the project, they will tell you good things that will make your project to be successful, even though their power is low. A typical example is, you know what, if back in Nigeria, if you really want to be successful, one of the people you need to be friends with are the janitors and the cleaners, because they know the information that is happening. They have little power, but you know what? They know a lot of things that are happening. So you have to make sure you keep them informed on your success. I know that because they are the people that will tell you exactly what is happening in the organization, or the gate man, exactly, the security man, exactly. So you could see their power is very low in where they are, but at the same time, you have to keep them informed. You have to make sure that they are informed on what is happening. So monitor, least important, typically informed via general communications. Like we said, the people you monitor, they are least important, but typically inform them via general communications or email and all that, just to inform them of what is happening and all that. Keep informed, show consideration, make use of interest through involvement in low-risk areas. These individuals could be potential ambassadors. Like I said, they could be people that are, are singing your praises and all of that, even though they have very low interest. I mean, very low power, but yet they will sing your praises. they will sing your praises. Okay. And I'll just quickly pick up an example. An example of another conversation I had today with my colleague that is online today. I told her, you know, there's one person you need to speak to tomorrow, even though this particular person doesn't have that kind of power, you get, but this person can be ambassador to the next level. Okay. With that, you know, you're making sure that the person is happy, doing things, and all of that. Keep satisfied, engage, consult on interest areas, try to increase their level of interest. Okay. Then manage closely. Key players that require focus, they involve governance and decision making and all that. When assessing stakeholders and interests, following areas should be considered. Will the project be changing such things, the way they work, their attitudes? So these are the things you want to consider whenever you're using your MS Dynamics to identify key stakeholders within the FMCG we spoke about. Okay, their attitudes, the customers, suppliers, employers, and the public. How will they react? What you're doing, you're refining cooking oil. You want to consider the people that are living around the area and all of that, which is the public. That's the project. Okay. But because you're deploying MS Dynamics now, so you're less concerned about the public. You can identify them, but their interest is really low, their power is really low. So they are just people you need to monitor and all of that in case they form a union one day and stop your supplier, the supplier that is coming to supply you things for your MS Dynamics, they stop them because they're angry that whatever is the refinery and all of that, things you're doing is all over them and all that. So you could see there are potential people you just have to monitor to say, okay, yeah, they are fine, they're happy. Their level of accountability, timing of the event and all that, will they be involved in setting, reviewing the strategy, acting as champions, specifying the project outcomes, specifying project products, changing the way the organization operates, providing specialist skills and all that. And this is a stakeholders register. We need to develop a stakeholders register. And when we develop a stakeholders register, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to do an analysis. So it's a combination of the identification of those stakeholders, the analysis, the strategy on how to manage them. Okay. So you can stop recording now while I show us a sample.